Erie Zone Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host.
Well, hello out there. This is Kaz Kwiatkowski, the City Controller. And looks like we're going to be alone today, and that's okay. A little bit of a rundown of the show. It's Taxpayers Hotline. You can call in about anything you like, any subject, complaints, criticisms, kudos, whatever turns you on. Just keep it in good taste and clean. And with that, our number's on the screen. You can call in anytime you want, as I said. And not much going down this week. It's been pretty quiet. We had a chance to tour the Erie Civic Center the other day, and it was quite an eye-opener. The building has gone through great transition, and it's not the same building anymore. The attendance, not the attendance, but the seating capacity has been probably increased about 1,000, maybe 1,500, which makes it a little bit more competitive in the market. But a lot of the stuff you can't see. As much as you can see on the top, the brand new seating and the concourses, the widening of them, that's very impressive. But underneath the arena is where a lot of the changes were made in the dressing rooms, the rooms where equipment will be stored, the kitchen facilities, some of the offices. So overall, it's quite impressive, and I guess, you know, looking back, you wonder why we didn't do it right the first time. So it would have had to been upgraded eventually, but it's a shame that years ago we didn't do this and do it back then when we had a chance to make it for a lot less money. But, you know, looking forward, I know they're talking about more changes down to Convention Center, but one would hope that the state comes through with the money they're holding on the Warner. There's a project which we'd like to see that develop, because long range, it's in need of repairs and in need of upgrading. For years, they've been talking about being able to bring large items, heavy equipment into the back of the Warner. They've never had an adequate loading facility, or dressing rooms for that matter, or practice facilities. So I know the money's been held up by the governor. Let's hope it gets released. I'd rather see the money there than unfortunately, you know, there's a lot of debate on the new hotel. I'm one that feels if private enterprise wants to build that hotel, I'd rather see that, and rather have the money going into the Warner or some other projects that private business won't pay for. And on that issue, once again, we're hoping that things progress at the GAF site, and that things improve a little bit, and they come up with a plan that possibly for development of that area. It's probably the single most important project we have left, the one area that hasn't been touched. And that'll do a lot to refurbish the city, and hopefully tourism, and kind of like an added incentive for people that come here on not only excursions, but conventions and different other associate events. As you drive through the city, you become somewhat dismayed at times that we have a lot of work ahead of us, and that's evident. And I think once we get the downtown straightened out, we need to go back into the neighborhoods and kind of get them going and developed in such a way that we can bring some people back into the city and spur the economy. As you ride around, you see a lot of new businesses in the suburbs, but not as many in the city itself, and that's something I'd like to see changed over the years. Other things going down this week, been going to a lot of events around town, and Summer seems to be finally winding down. Not as many of the big events that happen during summer. So in a way, it's kind of good to just sit back and relax, enjoy the winter sports, which will be starting pretty soon. And I hope to have on Bill Stafford from the Erie Explosion talk about his season. And I know the Otters are starting, and the Bayhawks will be starting pretty soon. And one of the things as you walked around over by the Civic Center, you couldn't help but notice the parking facility that was built by Erie Insurance, which is also adding to the area. And I think, if I heard right, the public will be able to use that at different times when they have athletic events at the Civic Center. I don't think we had any issues that we had to take care of. Go ahead, caller. Go ahead, caller. Hello? Go ahead, caller.
Hello. Look,
Go ahead, you're on.
am I on?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
You're probably hearing a delay on there because the TV and the phone are on a delay basis.
I understand. Okay, but I think the best thing for anybody to do, instead of watching your program, which is really not significant or productive, Channel 10, C-SPAN, Jay Carney is on. I think the public should turn Channel 10 on and listen to Channel 10.
Well, now that you got the phone, do you have anything constructive to add to this show?
Pardon me?
You have the chance right now to add some to this show.
Not for you.
What do you mean? What do you mean? You have nothing to add?
No.
So you're just watching and you have nothing to add? Did I hear you right, or? Well, that's great. I mean, he has time to watch a show, but nothing to add. I don't know. You shake your head on that one. Go ahead, caller.
That last gentleman was just listening to White House propaganda.
Well, I don't understand how he listens to a show he has nothing to add.
Well, there was an old saying one time, close your mouth, you won't put your foot in it. But you were talking about downtown and the money that it should be for improvement.
Right.
That hit a spot with me right away with our gaming commission, where they could give Gannon College $24,000 when you have other assets in the town that could probably use it. And what does Gannon give back to the city of Erie? Besides a couple of police or fire little SUVs.
Well, I agree with you, John. I think... Go ahead, I'll let you...
Yeah, no, and they have a multi-million-dollar area. They're taking all the downtown up. They're taking all the parking up. And, just like hotels, for every hotel you build, every room has to have a parking space. So pretty soon, Gannon's going to have to come down there with that field house and everything else, and they're charging admission to their students for going to school, room and board. The city doesn't realize any tax money on that, yet they're making profit on it. They have the Antlers Club down there that's a coffee shop, supposedly. Are they paying taxes on that? All of it? No, they're probably paying very little, probably a third, if any.
Actually, when you talk about the Antlers, I don't think that's a coffee shop anymore. I think they changed it over to like a nightclub. Not with liquor, but I think a club where kids hang out at night.
And they're selling beverages?
They probably are, non-alcoholic, I would guess.
But still, they're making a profit.
Oh, yeah, one of the things that really irks you about that was a friend of mine tried to go there for coffee once, and so they can keep it tax exempt. This is what I'm imagining. They really didn't want to service the public. They would service alumni or students, but not the general populace.
But then they shouldn't have a health license in there for that.
Well, the same thing happened if you look at coffee culture up on Peach Street.
They're paying for half the building tax taxes, aren't they?
Right, because half the building is accessible by the general public.
That's true. It should be.
Yeah, and when you brought up about Gannon, what did you say before the coffee shop? I was going to make a note real quick. You were talking about one of the things they do.
Well, they're rooming board and for
Yeah.
their students coming in. They put a few lights up down there for ambience and doesn't put anything out. They are just engulfing the whole city, and it's going to be a dead end. The city's not going anywhere. It's going to be a college campus.
Yeah, one of the things they do make. Oh, I remember you jockeyed my mind when you were talking about the dormitories, right?
Yes.
It was interesting this year during Roar on the Shore that they were renting out their rooms. Did you notice that a little bit?
No, I didn't come down to the Roar on the Shore.
No, I didn't either, but they said that they had excess dormitory space because the students weren't there, so they rented out those rooms to people that were coming up here.
Yes.
Now, I'm not against that, but
I'm not against it either. Did they collect the tax?
that's an interesting question. My answer would probably be no, although I don't know for sure, but some would tell me that was not done for the benefit of anybody but Gannon,
But geez, they might wind up in the St. Peter's Cathedral here or St. Peter's deal if they don't have their books checked right.
Well, it's a thing about, you got private business, which is out there. You got bed and breakfast, you got a couple motels, and they have to play the game one way, and you can't have other people playing the game the other way,
It's their ball and bat. They want to play their way.
Yeah, and they do a lot of nice things, but long range, I think
They do a lot of nice things, but they're well rewarded. They should be paying for fire and police service.
No, but you won't get that. You won't get that disagreement from me because I've said for years that there has to be something, if not taxes, something in lieu of taxes, because
Well,
we have to service them.
1-inch fire line for sprinkling systems. Now, are they paying the fair water bill?
Couldn't tell you, John. But
No, just like Mario before he passed away, with the water department, the money that they received, that was supposed to be a locked up deal, making money. It had to be a supermajority of city council before they could get any money from that account. That would be 6 out of 7 members.
right now, I want to tell you that had some years ago. They did have some trouble with the fund. What do you call it? Going down.
Yes.
But the latest council, the last few years, has tightened that up. That water reserve, as you refer to it.
Because they got more money for selling it for another 25 years.
But instead of, even when they first got it, I remember I was still here the first couple of years. They were still kind of like taking money out of there at an alarming rate. Okay.
Yes.
Even with the supermajority. But there was a realization a few years back that,
Where they were running out of money.
well, yeah, we have, it's no secret, we have I think presently about $8 million in there. And the last few years, they have, council came up with a plan where they are not giving it out easily. There hasn't been any money given out except a deal that they have, an agreement with the administration that every year we get so much interest on that fund, and a certain percentage of that will go to the administration for road repaving, stuff like that, and that will be given back to council, a list of those improvements. But that money is monitored every year. It has been growing.
Now it is.
Yes, and I give credit to the councils the last few years that decided to put a stop to it.
Well, that was when Joe Schember left, because they got that $3 million that they give to the convention center down there. They took that money when the solicitors said he didn't need a supermajority to take that money out.
And see, that was giving money away there was money for that, and that was like a bad deal. That hurt us.
That money was supposed to be paid back. It's a good thing we're not holding our breath out here.
That's right, but I think right now, the fund itself is slowly making money. It's been reinvested properly, and you don't see any. You haven't seen any. What do you call it? Inclination to be taking any more out of that fund.
That's true. You know, there's too much going on in that city hall that isn't brought to light. Just like I saw in the public notices this morning in the newspaper.
Okay, I got it now. Go ahead.
You got, well, that's where the bids for
Go ahead, though. I was gonna check it out for you.
furnishing and, well, a bid for furnishing and delivering the following items and or services, and no items are listed.
Well, there is. I think I was looking at it, John. It's not well written.
Well, Mr. Clem, shame on you.
No, that's the way the newspaper writes these up.
Well, the biggest problem is with that new fish wrap.
Yes, you mean the Butler Bugle?
Whatever you want to call it. Call it Bullwinkle's horn.
I did check on that one. It said, when you read it, it says sealed proposals for furnishing, not furnishings, furnishing and delivering the following items. And then if you read down below, it says bid number 6402.
The bid was more specific with the 6042?
Well, it just said, well,
The bid number is 6042.
yeah, and it says City of Erie Electricity Supplier. What that means is you can come down here and the bid is on public record. I'm not sure if they put them on the internet. I'd have to check on that.
Electricity supplier?
Yeah, what that means is we're not doing it for the city, but the electric service that comes into City Hall and our city buildings, even you as a citizen are allowed to buy from another company.
Well, that's well known with First Energy and PP&L. That mail is coming all the time. Why do they have to put a bid up for the city to intervene?
Well, no, the city is bidding this is for supplying power to City Hall and to our buildings.
Why would they put a bid on it?
What do you mean?
Why would the city put a bid on it? All they have to do is contact First Energy or any of the suppliers.
Sometimes when they deal with government entities,
Going with the COG deal.
they may give us a better deal than the average citizen can get. That's why we put it on bid to see how much they want to, we do our due diligence to try to get the best deal, for the
Oh,
taxpayers.
sure, you get a lot for Peter and you take it out and give it to Paul.
John, you can't be a skeptic all the time.
Yes, I can be.
I know you
When it comes to my dollars and cents being spent and wasted out there, I am a skeptic. Just like you said that some of the money from the water fund goes in to the mayor and his thing for paving and everything else. We wouldn't need an $8 million bond that we're going to pay for the next 15 years for police cars or for a road that is not going to last 5 years. A bond should be something that will withstand 25 years.
Well, there's always a reluctance for people to raise taxes.
That's right, and there's an election coming up, and everybody better get out. And the whole thing here is we have to be tight. The mayor said we have a balanced budget so far. He doesn't foresee tax increase. You know what I say? Baloney.
I think
We're going to be hit with at least a mill tax because those bobbleheads on city council will sit down there and agree to everything and call in a director and they'll ask for the same and they'll all want a little more and they'll probably do it and they won't even review it. Review it. Take more than one week to do the budget. I've never seen a budget go in 1 week and everybody talks to somebody and you got all those bobbleheads down there yakking, visiting with each other, and they're not even looking.
Well, I'll tell you, right now, most governments are at the position that the only place you're going to make any cuts anymore is either in personnel or services. That's it.
And the only place you can pick up on this and make revenue is redo the non-profit.
Well, I agree with you there. That or...
We got to go down to Harrisburg.
Well, there's two ways, John. You got one way, which is the nonprofits. But ultimately, you have to grow your economy, and that's something we haven't done.
How can you grow the economy when you're forcing the economy out of your city?
That's what I mean. When you look at other places and they look successful, the Harbor Creeks, the Mill Creeks, they are in the same position Erie was when you and I were young, correct?
It's true.
You know, we had everybody coming in here, all the stores, all the people were moving into the city. It was, you know, it was like, you know, having money tossed at you.
That's true, and you got people like John Elliott, David Brennan, wanting to declare the waterfront a depleted, blighted area to put in a port that we had 25, 30 years ago. And all that is going to do is just going to jam the highways, the Bayfront Highway, which is a mistake. Nothing is going to be coming by boat or rail. We don't have the capacity for the rail down there. Like it used to be, there used to be 14, 15 set of tracks down there behind the old soldiers and sailors home. There was coal docks, ore docks, grain docks.
Well, the boats, I'll tell you what, when I was in the private sector, I did not see the boats because a lot of the boats that came in were docked in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Right, and they came by trucks then.
Yeah, not Delaware, Wilmington, North Carolina. And yeah, I was amazed at, you know, the amount of pipe.
But they have it coming there. We had all that years ago.
Yep, I think a lot of our problem is you got a very costly seaway where they have to pay, they think there's just too many fees involved.
You got to go through the locks and the whole shot.
I mean, business is going to do the simplest way out. And for them, it seems like they feel if they dock at one port, that's all they have to deal with. And, you know, they can deal with trucking across the country.
That's what they're doing.
Yeah, we don't even have rails that much anymore.
More down there, it used to be. You could hear a coal truck going up in the middle of the night because they run the sirens. And you heard that going constantly from like 9 o'clock at night till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning till they unloaded the boats and loaded the boats and the whole shot. But it's going to have to end somewhere. And, you know, you're getting downtown. There's no improvement downtown. They're building 2 more hotels out in Summit and up off of Cherry Street by the racetrack. There's going to be another 400 or 500 rooms. And the gaming commission, I don't know, that's a joke there. You got a guy making $60,000, $90,000 for stroking a check. You can get your kid to do that.
It's a shame. We in the city don't seem to benefit from that casino at all.
Oh, well, that's because there was some bobbleheads down there didn't see the writing before the wall.
And the people in Harrisburg didn't write the rules were not done properly either.
Well, I'll get off when somebody else come in and vent my frustration.
This is all because the Giants lost, I know.
Yes, it's about that. It's coming back to where it was way back when. Pretty soon we're going to have home drive-ins and everything else downtown. And that
We're going to have what?
Home drive-ins and like, you know, with car hops and all that again.
Hey, you never know.
Cakes, rock and roll music. That guy that Ed Sullivan said was disgraceful, but had him on his program all the time. Elvis the Pelvis.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the next study. It says we got to...
And are we still urban or are we rural?
We're still rural.
We're still rural.
Yeah.
Good. Next time I go get my car inspected, I'm going to have them waive the emission control.
Yeah, we ought to try for that because if we are rural, we don't need the...
Emission.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, John brings up a good point about if you read the paper, the way I read it was we're still classified as a rural area, even though you'd have to agree we're an urban area. And it seems like one of our leading agencies cut a deal with the state, but that still leaves the county out hanging, and that's never a good deal. Not for the others that didn't cut the deal. I think they have to redo that thinking. Erie's still a large enough city with plenty of urban problems. John also alluded to the nonprofits, as we've gone over that over and over again, about they really need to rethink how we handle nonprofits. Nonprofits, although they add to the area in some ways, it's still a negative aspect when the city's suffering from many of the problems that big cities are suffering from, and we don't have the revenue source any longer. And I'm one that feels that you can you can either, one part of the solution would be to address the nonprofits. That would take care of some problems. But long range, we need to really think how we're going to grow the city once again to its previous population levels and its per capita income level. Those things have to change in the future. If they don't, then we're on a road that is not very pleasant. And I think we certainly want to be the Erie that we were many years ago, and that's going to be tough, but not impossible. And I think that's where we in government have to find out what it's going to take to change all this and to, bring back the vibrancy of the city and to make people once again want to come back to the city. John was talking about a couple of things in the newspaper. As I was looking at it, here we go again with the government shutdown, which is causing plenty of problems around the country, not only for local governments, but state governments. And just doesn't seem any reason why our legislators can't sit down and agree to disagree, at least, and to not come to the solution of shutting down government, which is right now affecting the financial markets, which hurts all of us who have 401s or retirement plans that are based on the market. And not only that, the country as a whole suffers, and the country's in a very negative attitude right now about investing, and that's never the way you want to have government and the country running. But it seems like we have some tough decisions ahead of us. Once again, if you want to call in, the number's in the board. Nothing really new to add around town here. Things are, as we get ready for the fall, and as I mentioned earlier, many of the venues will be kicking up. The Philharmonic, which is celebrating a landmark year, the Playhouse, the various sports teams, college teams, the high schools, all getting ready for a pretty good fall. And also with fall comes, the advent of winter, and that'll bring on its own challenges to us. But, being Erie, we'll be okay. And once again, if there's anything you want to discuss, please call in, or we have an open line. And getting back to development around the city, when John talked about a lot of things Gannon was doing, it's interesting that the town is now transitioning from the commercial and somewhat business that it was before. It's pretty much, you see it now transition into colleges and hospitals. And go ahead, caller.
Hey, Kaz, it might help because you got on your screen September 30th.
He did?
Yeah, you got September 30th on the screen.
Uh-oh.
That might help if you get the right date.
You know what? Wait a minute, today is the 30th.
No?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's right. My mistake.
That's okay, you're very observant.
Yeah, I'm just way behind.
Somebody said they misspelled September, but he's got it respelled properly now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you had me wondering there, but I thought it was the 30th.
Yeah, it'll probably be that way all day today, too.
So you got anything to add or not?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, too, because like I said, when you're talking about the city taxes and all that, and I just can't imagine why the school taxes are so high. You're running a whole city there, but the school taxes are way out of proportion.
Well, traditionally, they're high in every community. They're higher, much higher than the municipality that you reside in or the county. And it is it's hard.
I just can't understand. You run a whole city, citywide.
Yeah.
Then then you run that school district, and compared to the difference of the city taxes and the school taxes, I just can't understand that part.
Well, the city can get a little bit of revenue from fees, a little bit. But the schools are, many of the things that the public doesn't understand is, they hear about it, but we have these mandates that the state puts down all the time.
Yeah.
And the mandates are such that they'll tell you, you have to do something or provide a certain service, and they don't give any enhanced money. We basically, when the school board will, every year they'll be notified how much they'll receive for each student from the Commonwealth. But a lot of these programs don't come with any added money. If they come with any, it's very little. A lot of times they tell you you're supposed to get full funding. Now, many people think full funding is 100%, but in the state's minds, they consider it like half, maybe 50%. But a lot of times you don't even get that. You may get 30, 35%. So local taxpayers have to pick up the difference. That's what's hurting. I mean, you got tons of programs, you got all kinds of costs, you got charter schools starting up, you got services, everybody needs specialized services, and it just adds up, and it ends up being that school does become the highest tax.
Okay, Kaz, I'm going to go update my calendar then.
Okay, but I mean, I feel bad for anybody with school taxes, but I don't see that changing as long as it's, what do you call it, real estate related.
Yeah, like I said, that's the one that really hurts, is that school tax.
Yeah.
Then they want to switch it around, you pay it earlier and all that.
Well, all they were doing was, for years, the school district always passed their budget in the middle of the year. But for some strange unknown reason, they collected their taxes at the beginning of the year like everybody else.
Yeah, it was all coming one lump sum.
Yeah, but the problem was, the school district was always short of funds because their tax paying year started in the middle of the year, so they had to take a loan out early in the year to cover their expenses. Now they won't have to do that.
Okay, Kaz, I'll let you go.
Okay, thanks for the notation about the date, though.
Yeah, I got to update my calendar.
Okay, you had me wondering, but the gentleman, yeah, about school taxes, it's always been the case that when you look at your tax bill, the school district where you reside in will always be higher. And I don't see that changing. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, Cass. I called last week about the complaint with the city municipal plate.
Yeah, you mean the one that ran by you?
Yeah, the one that the dude was gabbing on his phone and couldn't use his turn signals.
I got a call into that place. It was actually the housing authority.
So I was calling to see if you'd gotten an update about whether or not they said anything to the guy.
No, I called the housing authority. I haven't talked to I want to talk to the director myself. He hasn't got back to me yet, but it wasn't a city vehicle. Somebody had it checked out for me, and it was the housing authority that did that.
Right.
So I will get you an answer. I have a call into them.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't, I was worried it was one of ours, but a lot of people, a lot of the authorities also have municipal plates.
Right. No problem.
Yeah, I tried to
see if you'd gotten an update on that.
Yeah, I tried to call you back. I must either you weren't there or you didn't get the right number, but
It happens.
yeah, but I will try when I get back. I'll give him another call, see if he's in.
Okay.
But yeah, we did put a call in, and I do want him to call me back.
Not a problem. I mean, I would hate to hear eventually on the news that there was an accident involving a city car or
Yeah.
one of the department cars, and it was all because somebody wasn't paying attention to what they should have been paying attention to. I mean,
Yeah, I'm amazed the number of people that are either texting or some on the phone, and they don't realize that they actually think they got control of the vehicle, but they really don't.
I can understand that. I mean, I try really hard not to. Yeah, if I receive a text or anything like that, typically I'll pull over.
I caught myself one day talking on the phone, and I said, you know, this is not really smart, because all of a sudden I realized I was doing something I shouldn't have. So I've stopped using the phone on driving now.
Right. no, normally if I'm driving, I'll usually tell somebody, hey, hold on a second, give me enough time to pull over, or let me call you back when I get to where I'm going.
But yeah, rest assured, I still have his plate number, and I will get you an answer on that.
Wonderful. Wonderful. You have a good day, Kath.
You too. Thank you. Yeah, getting back to school taxes, which is a really complicated issue. You're dealing with a lot of funding issues that get past. Go ahead, caller. A lot of funding issues that. Go ahead, caller. Turn down your TV if you're calling in. Are you there? Yeah, we're on a delay basis, so if you call, please turn your phone down. School taxes are one of those issues that we have a lot of funding issues that revolve around the fact that the Commonwealth, Go ahead, caller.
You're talking about school taxes?
Yeah.
Just think of the situation would be if none of these people signed up for the Homestead Act.
Ooh, that'd be ugly.
Then it would be probably $300 or $400 more.
Yeah.
And people out there don't realize that the school district, at least the City of Erie School District, they're responsible for busing in all these charter schools.
Oh, yeah, well, I was going to explain that what people don't realize is that a lot of the programs, even that benefit private schools.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it's funded by the city school district because issues of, in fairness to the busing, for instance, we don't bus high school kids in the city. But how we bus our, our grade school kids.
A mile and a half away.
Pardon?
You do if they're more than a mile and a half away from the school.
Not high school.
They're not?
No, high school, at least when I was on the board, we did not bus high school kids. And if you chose to go to a school of choice, that was your decision. Which now they had a distance for, and I don't remember the distance now, but there was a separate distance for K through, we did it different. It was K through 6. And then we had another busing for like 6 through 8. It was a little different mileage, but no busing for high school at that time.
Just think if the state took some of that money from the gambling, they're making how many billions of dollars? They're taking like 50% from all the gaming in Pennsylvania.
Well, in Ohio, I think they actually put the money towards education.
But the only one making out is the state. It's like if I have a club or something and I'm having a game and I'm dragging 10% out of every hand. You know who's going to win in the end?
Yeah.
I am. But let's get back to that corner lot down there on French Street that the housing authority owned. They sold that for $1.2 million.
Which one's that? You mean the old Perry Memorial House?
No, down there behind the Warner Theater, that little corner lot.
Oh, okay, you're talking about...
That's going to allow them to complete their expansion down there.
Right.
Now, I cannot see it being taken off the tax roll for the Warner Theater because John Horan was paying some money to the city for that little corner lot, and I understand he only got $1.2 million for that corner lot. If I was him, I'd say I want $5 million because it's taxpayers' money, but it's coming from the state. And the Warner does not belong to the city of Erie, does it not, or any authority?
The Warner does belong to the Convention Authority.
I thought it belonged to the state.
Well, the state may have a vested interest in a couple of the items, like a couple of buildings, but still they come under the Jerry Utt Ballpark, the Civic Center itself, the Warner Theater, and the Convention Center all fall under the Erie County Convention Authority.
That's what we should get rid of. We got to get rid of that and let the city run their own authority.
Well, we used to run that one, but...
We used to run the water authority, too.
The trouble with, I'll give you an example.
The trouble with running an authority, you have to do more work.
This is one thing they didn't bring up at the, when they showcased the new arena.
You mean flush it twice and it'll work?
The new Erie Insurance Arena, when they did that, there was a lot of patting on the back about who did what and all that, but the one area they didn't acknowledge, and I'd be remiss if I didn't go to bat for the city, was, I think you remember, John, when after Lou Tullio had that building built, correct?
Yes.
Every year that they had a shortfall in their operating budget, who made up the difference?
The city.
Right. When,
Who's going to make up the difference with the convention center besides the taxpayers and bed?
well, now you got to tie it into the, they get money from that room tax, okay?
Yes, that went up 1%, didn't it?
Right. So, I mean, the convention center is a beneficiary of that tax. No, the city can't charge a room tax, only the county can. So the county actually took over the authority, which in a way of speaking was better for the city because, like Joliet Ballpark, if you do your early homework on that one, when the ball club, they paid so much money on the lighting, but when the lighting bill got over a certain amount of money, the city was picking up that tab.
Taxpayer again.
Right, they were picking it up. Before they moved to Joliet Ballpark, where did they play their games?
Where?
Ainsworth.
Ainsworthville.
Huh?
Ainsworthville.
Right, and who do you think subsidized that?
The city.
The school district, right?
Oh, that end of it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
They
so,
cut the grass and did the park and...
yeah, I just think that, nobody's ever acknowledged the fact that the citizens of Erie, through the school district and the city itself, was underwriting pro sports and all that stuff in arenas, when they had shortfalls. Now, all of a sudden, that's all forgotten,
Sure it is.
Everybody's saying, oh, this is great, we got money from this corporation and this person brought this in, but long range,
It's just like Veterans Stadium.
yeah, you have to go back to, who kept them going when nobody really wanted them, It would have been easy for the school district to dump pro baseball or for the city to say, we can't afford to underwrite the arena any longer,
Then again, we come in on the Bayfront Highway, we see all that wonderful advertisement down there.
Yeah, I got mixed feelings on that. I mean, I know those people, paid money to keep it nice and clean, but it does look like massive,
It looks like the old Burma Shave commercial.
yeah.
You go down the road and you see these signs coming out.
I think there was a better way of doing it,
Yes, there's a much better way to put up a monument over there, built by so and so and so. Who wants to see a great big UPMC sign down there?
Yeah, I think that's what I think the average when you read. Excuse me, John. When you read that story, that article in the paper, letter to the editor, I think the guy had a valid complaint that you look down there and the whole thing's about beautification, and now you got logos down there.
Be the same thing for this next 6 weeks. It'll be loaded with political signs.
That's true.
And what? There's 90 days or 60 days you have to have all your political signs off the road?
Well, most candidates.
Or pay a $25 fine?
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's ever been fined yet too much.
Well, most of them, the losers will say to heck with it, and for the $25 they don't have to go pick up their garbage.
Most of the good candidates pick them up right away.
That's true. That is true.
I think I try to get mine within about 3 days.
So, but I still have one from believe it or not, Mike Canavino.
Jeez. We need a we got to find a place to have a museum for him.
That's true. I see his little figure walking up and down the old ballpark up on 38th Street, and what I remember him saying, "Hiya, kid."
Yeah, I remember the best story I heard was some guy lost a ball in the lights, and some guy looked at Mike and said, "What lights?"
Yeah.
Those lights were a little bit more than parking lot lights.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, have a great day. Just like the old song, when the lights come on or go off in Wrigley Field before they had their lights.
There's a place. I got to visit that place.
There you go. Have a great day.
See you, John. Yeah, we were talking. Excuse me. I know I got a cold all of a sudden. As John kind of alluded to there also, school taxes are depending on a lot of things, and a lot of people don't realize that the local district will pay for busing, nursing costs at private schools, tutorial services, providing tutors when kids are sick or et cetera, any kind of remedial programs that the state comes up with. And all these add to the cost. And the problem is that when the state mandates it, they never follow through with any funding. It's up to the local district to pick up the cost, even though the local district may not want the program. And that's where the problem lies. And, you can either pay it at the top as a Commonwealth, or you can pass it along like they do, and then it becomes a burden on the local taxpayers. And it's no secret. I mean, a city like Erie would have need for more remedial services, especially with the economic aspects and the per capita income that reside within the city. We've been pointed out that we have a high level of poverty. So with that becomes programs to combat poverty or to combat the remedial services that are needed to bring the students up to speed. And with that is money, and that's unfortunate, but that's what causes it. And school districts, unlike the city, they don't have any fees to charge. They don't have tuition. They don't have taxes they can levy except for real estate tax, and that's where they get that, and they get also 1/2 of the income tax of those citizens which reside in the city of Erie, and that's their major funding sources outside of what the state gives them. So when you read about the governor is cutting education, and that's great news on the one front, it may be good news for the state, but not for the municipality. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, did you ever have John Horan from the Erie Housing Authority on your program?
No, I don't think I ever extended my an invite to him, but I could do that if you'd like me to try.
Yeah, I think citizens would probably have a lot of questions for him.
Yeah, he, some like him, some don't. I think he's had success in some of his programs,
Right.
But yeah, there's a lot of. How do you feel?
I have kind of like mixed feelings.
I think everybody does. I think it's,
I live next to the one that he named after himself. It used to be called the Franklin Terrace.
Yeah.
And I live on Seneca Street, right across from there. And I have to admit, it's a safer area now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I walk through there to catch the bus and stuff, and it does seem like he's keeping some of the troublemakers away. But on the other hand, what he did back in '94, I'm thinking it was, he just suddenly threw up this fence in the back of our houses, and that's where people on Seneca Street used to park their cars there.
Yeah.
And he did it without warning, and so we don't have access to our backyards, at least not for our cars. And we have all of our cars parked on front of Seneca Street. Both sides of the street have to do that now. And there's already been accidents, I think, because of that congestion.
I'll ask him if he'd like to come on here.
Yeah. So, I don't want to totally trash the guy, but, there are problems.
Yeah, he's, in some ways he's controversial, but I've watched some of his, one of the comments I heard was he has made his area so safe that the people he booted out now are in the other neighborhoods, But I guess you have to admit that, I get his newsletter, and he does amazing things with the kids that reside there. They have scholarships, they have a lot of events. I think they're trying to make those people feel like, you can still have pride, and you can live in public housing, and there is a way. You have all kinds of success stories. I think Tom Ridge himself came out of public housing.
I think the John Horan, wasn't he raised in those?
I'm not sure, but it'd be interesting to ask him.
Okay, just a suggestion. I think he'd be an interesting guest.
Yeah, public housing is not a death sentence. A lot of times, it's people that, for whatever reasons, are in hard times. That may be the little boost that gets them going.
Well, my parents, shortly after they got married, this was in the late 50s, I think they lived in public housing maybe for about a year or so, and like you said, then they moved on to something better.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, originally I think I read some of those houses, that the Housing Authority inherited were like built for returning veterans from World War II?
My understanding, like the one that's behind me, that one was built specifically during the Second World War for the GE workers.
That could be because they needed, they needed a factory to produce goods at a alarming rate. So yeah, that would have made sense. And you know what? The whole thing was, after a while when their income level increased, they would move on then, and other people would take their place. I think that was the hope. Are you still there? Oop. But I think we will ask John Duran if he'd like to come on. Like I said, he's had some success stories, and sometimes people also have some disagreements with him. But I think, looking at it as an outsider, he's cleaned up a lot of the projects, and there's no doubt about that. And so I have heard the comment that while he booted people out of there, the people that didn't live up to the standards, they have now left and gone other places. So I guess he's done his job as far as taking care of what he's involved in, and that's, as far as public officials go, you can never complain about that. He's a very quiet guy. I've met him a few times, but I will make an attempt to call him. And I think go ahead, caller.
Hello. Could you tell me who's responsible for trimming the trees between the city, the sidewalk and the street?
Are they involved in like electric wires or what? Or is it some other thing?
I don't know if it's an electrical wire or what, but there's a hole on the trunk of it. The bark's coming off. There's thorns on it.
Oh, okay. You mean the tree looks like it's dying or something?
Yeah, but it still gets blossoms on it. What I'm concerned about, it has thorns on it.
Oh.
Now, is that the city's responsibility to be trimming that?
The city puts them in. I have to ask the arborist. That's Sarah Galloway?
I talked to her, and
What'd she say?
mentioned about a 5-year wait.
You mean to take care of it?
Yeah, well, don't they trim them?
I'm not sure. I plead ignorance on that. I know the electric company will trim them if it's a problem with interference with the wires. But outside of that, I don't know if it's a homeowner's responsibility. I can find out for you.
I always thought this was the city's responsibility from the sidewalk to the street.
Yeah, but I think, I'd like to, I would agree with you, but I still think, I don't know why, it's like the grass. Even though the grass belongs to the city, you still have to mow it, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure about who takes care of the trees, but I can ask Sarah, she'll know, and I can check the ordinances.
Well, I'd like to know if they trim them,
I can report that next week if you'd like.
Yes, would you please?
Sure. Who's responsible for trimming rather?
At least trimming it, so those tree limbs don't go down. Anybody walks by, they grab up there, they're going to get thorns in their hands.
Yeah, I think the only way we trim them is if they're, and I better check with her, but I thought it was if they were like an impediment to traffic or something, But I will check, because I plead ignorance on that. I know my dad had a tree in front of his house, and the electric company used to trim them, but outside of that, I don't remember anybody else doing it.
Well, why did the city trim trees around the city before then?
I know, the parks might be the one to do that, but I'll check for you. But you say it's a thorny tree, right?
Yes, there's thorns on it. It gets berries on it.
How long ago did he plant it, do you remember?
It was here when we moved in
really?
86.
Oh, okay, because they planted a lot of new trees lately. They've been going to different styles that they feel are more...
No, this is an old tree. It's leaning... Get a good enough windstorm or snowstorm, it might come down. I don't know.
Oh, you think it might be in bad shape too?
Pardon?
Do you think it might be in bad shape?
It could be, because, like I said, there's bark coming off the bottom of the
Okay.
tree, and there's a hole in there.
Why don't you give me a call off the air so I can get your address?
Okay.
I don't want you to give it over the air, okay?
Okay, that would be fine.
Yeah, call me at 870-1349.
Okay, that'd be great.
And if I'm not there, just leave a message on the phone.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, that way I can, if I have time, I'll even drive by it, or I'll ask Sarah to take a look at it.
Well, the way she talked, that nobody comes out and looks at them.
She will, she looks at, she's right about one thing. We don't have a lot of money for taking down trees. That's,
Well, we're in our 70s, too. You
Yeah.
know, it was bad enough we got our school taxes raised over $200.
yeah, that's never good. I'm one of those that feel like they got to get away from the real estate aspect of the taxes
Right.
and switch it more to income. That way, when you're young and you're working, you can afford to pay taxes. When you're more retired,
Right.
it should be less and less based on, well, real estate's a bad way of looking at it. If you base on income, you'll pay when you're younger and you'll get the break when you're older. Or we could do what some states do, which is once you retire and you and your spouse or whoever lives in the house, if nobody's got any income outside of retirement income,
Right.
then your taxes are never raised. In some states, they do that. They're like frozen,
I see.
Yeah, your assessment will go up, so that when a new person buys a house, it'll reflect that. But for instance, Virginia did that, where they will not raise your taxes once you retire, providing nobody has a job in that house. So that's kind of, they got to come up with some, because seniors are having a rough time today with the.
All right, and there's more and more people moving out. I know of 3 others.
Yep, I relayed that to a lot of people. I think we're losing a lot of our productive income-producing citizens.
Right.
We're getting a lot of rentals and a lot of, you wish more, you don't want people moving out that have been there for years. Retirement should be fun, not a, what do you call it?
Well, it's supposed to be, Kaz.
Pardon?
I wonder.
Yeah, I'm getting there too myself now, so it's getting a little scary.
Yeah.
But, yeah, call me off the air and I will, take a look at that for you.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Hey, thank you.
You.
And I think we just got the high sign. We got to go off the air, so unless somebody calls in within about a minute or so, we're going to sign off and see you next week. And hopefully, we're going to try to get a couple guests in here and get a little more opinionated on some subjects and get a little more response. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Kaz, I just called to tell you that I'm not watching your show, but, people should watch another show.
Who's this?
DJ.
Oh, hey, DJ. Hey, I missed you on here today, okay?
I know. I will try to come back in the near future.
That's okay. You have a job to do, so.
Yep, you take care.
We'll see you, DJ.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.